No religious tests. Let's play hardball. Good evening, I'm Chris Matthews in Washington. Tonight, terrible news on the national security front. Consider the casualties of this travel ban. Everyone in the world knows it's directed against people of one religion. Our friends know it and are hurt by it in so many ways. Our enemies know it and are excited by it, knowing it will humiliate our friends, will stir terrorist recruitment around the world, will trigger others to radicalize. Think of what this announcement means from America and what it's telling people around the world. If you're an American of the Islamic faith, try explaining this to your children. If you're an American of the Islamic faith serving in the American military, do you have a strong confidence right now this is not a war against your religion? If you're working for America's cause overseas, perhaps in a dangerous situation, perhaps as a translator, do you still feel you're working for friends? If you're living in a country that's fighting on America's side and you are a Muslim, could you be getting the sense you are fighting against your own faith and people? Do you feel more secure today, given this declaration from the American president against the radicals trying to topple you? If you're a Muslim now growing up in America, do you feel more or less comfortable or more or less welcome or more or less an American, at least the Trump kind of American? If you're a sworn enemy of the United States, are you happy or sad that your number one enemy in the world has just done you the favor of declaring this a war between East and West? Precisely what you've been saying with every bomb you explode, every word you speak. Isn't this what you dream of? Well, after a weekend of confusion, chaos, protests at airports across this country, President Trump defended his executive order that bars travelers from 7 majority Muslim countries. Quote, Secretary Kelly said that all is going well with very few problems. Make America safe again. There is nothing nice about searching for terrorists before they can enter our country. This was a big part of my campaign. Study the world. If the ban were announced with 1 week notice, the bad would rush into our country during that week. A lot of bad dudes out there. Well, the New York Times reports that John Kelly, the Secretary of Homeland Security, didn't get his first full briefing on the order from Trump until the very moment President Trump was signing it. According to the Times, catch this. Quote, halfway into the briefing, someone on the call looked up at a TV set in his office. Quote, the president is signing an executive order that you were discussing. The official said, stunned. Jim Mattis, the new Secretary of Defense, did not even see a final version of the order until Friday morning. And Customs and Border Protection officers were also caught unaware. Well, criticism was quick and fierce, of course, and the Senate's top Democrat, Chuck Schumer, called the order mean-spirited and un-American. Civil rights groups also condemned it.
We have been also careful about who comes in the country. We have not been reckless. There are national security agencies and law enforcement agencies who have been scrutinizing all these refugees and visa applicants. It takes 2 years for a Syrian refugee to come to the United States. They are extremely vetted. So eventually, Donald Trump's executive order is not based on national security. It is based on fear-mongering.
Anyway, this afternoon, for the first time since leaving office, former President Barack Obama put out a statement criticizing the actions of his successor. Quote, the president fundamentally disagrees with the notion of discriminating against individuals because of their faith or religion. That's from his spokesman, President Obama, speaking out. I'm joined right now by the Huffington Post, Howard Fineman, USA Today's Heidi Prescott, and the Washington Post, all our MSNBC political analysts. I want all three of you on, great reporters, to tell me what this means in history right now. The fact that 7 countries have been targeted by the new president. You can't come here for 3 months.
Well, Chris, it means that Osama bin Laden's whole theory of a war of the West on Islam now gains great credence thanks to what Donald Trump just did.
We're all crusaders now.
We are the crusaders officially in the eyes of Islam. At least that's what Osama said. That's what Donald Trump has done. This is the reaction that Osama bin Laden himself would have prayed for.
And he died for it. This is what he wanted to happen.
He prayed for and died for.
Okay.
This is 9/11 15 years later.
Let's break that down and show how this has just become a major propaganda tool both at home and abroad. At home, what is our problem? Our problem is homegrown terrorists who watch this type of thing. They watch the grandmothers who've been detained at the airport, who've been mistreated. And this is just the kind of thing that is going to inspire them, especially those who are mentally ill, to latch on to this dangerous ideology. That's at home. abroad. Look at what this is going to do to our allies, to the people, the translators, the diplomats, the people that we need, that we count on. What are we saying to them? We're saying, you can shed blood for our country, you can fight for the United States of America, and we are not necessarily going to be there. We're not going to be there to have your back. We may shut our doors on you. And then what is that going to do as well when you have, like, the Iraqi parliament already talking about banning the U.S. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. As a reaction. I don't think that's going to happen, Chris, but think about it. If that happened, who takes over? Who moves into that vacuum? ISIS. So that